Okay. It's time to call this regular meeting of the Stillwater Planning Commission this Tuesday, January 6th, 2015. First item on the agenda is under Plans, Policies, and Ordinances for discussion. Item A, text amendment PZ-14-1921, text amendment to Chapter 23 Land Development Code by amending Section 23.170 Agricultural District. Ms. Dennison.
Good evening, Paula Dennison, Development Services. And I do believe you have each been presented with an amended report from Mr. Coots. This is a request to amend the City of Stillwater Land Development Code, one of the sections, the Agriculture District. The request is for recommend approval or action to the City Council to remove mining as a use in the Agriculture District. Currently, mining is allowed with a specific use permit in the Ag District. It's also allowed with an SUP in the General Industrial District, and this is only in the Agriculture District that this use is being brought before you for a recommendation to remove from the Ag District. The findings that staff has presented will not cause this text amendment removing the mining from the Ag District will not cause a safety concern throughout the community, will encourage appropriate development. New technology does reduce the need in agriculture districts. Any non-surface mining rights will remain unchanged, and as well as all other uses in the Ag District will remain unchanged. So are there any questions of the commission that I could answer at this time?
So if you wanted to drill an oil well on agricultural land, with this change, you could not drill that oil well?
That is correct, inside the city limits that we regulate.
And there's no permit to our ability for them to get a permit to drill a well?
In an agriculture district, if this amendment goes through, that is correct.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Can you give us an example of, has this happened a lot? Is there a lot of agricultural in city limits right now that currently have wells on them, or?
Great question. There's a lot of agriculturally zoned property in city limits. A lot of it you will find close to and abutting creeks, streams, floodplain areas, which there in and of itself, location-wise, a lot of the agriculture districts abut residential districts, which are going to be developed in housing, of course. So not as many of the wells inside Stillwater as there is agriculture zoned land that currently the mining is an allowed use with an SUP. But there are wells inside Stillwater. They're not all on ag land. They're on general industrial land as well. But the availability of the agriculture land is great because of the acreage that we have and where that ag zoning is located.
Okay.
I do have a question, Paula. What other types of, I guess, activities are fall into this mining?
The
Classification, I guess. I'm sorry, I probably cut you off.
No, that's okay. Tom's going to hand me the definition of mining, the use category, and I can actually read directly from it in just a moment. I would also bring up another point of agriculture that's a little different from the other zoning districts that we have. Most of the agriculturally zoned land, even under state statute, does not have the level of regulation when it comes to nuisance codes that other zoning districts do, because typically your agriculture uses are going to have a little higher nuisance tolerance level than, say, residential or commercial. So with those increased allowances, if you will, in the ag zone from just a nuisance standpoint, those also apply where mining is concerned. Okay, mining is extracting naturally occurring mineral solids, including but not limited to coal and ores, liquid minerals, which includes crude, gases, which includes natural gas, includes quarrying, well operations, crushing, screening, washing, and flotation, and other preparation customarily performed at the mine site or as part of a mining activity.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir. Anything else while I have the code up here or I'm here?
One more. If for some reason this didn't go through, not saying one way or the other, but if it stayed the way it is currently, what's the process for someone wanting to drill an oil well on a piece of agricultural land? It's not a use by right necessarily, correct?
Correct,
So-
it is
so
not.
What's the process of that?
Great question. This would be any mining operation, not just drilling of oil and gas, but anything that falls under this mining definition. A specific use permit is generally, we classify it as special permission to establish that use that is not necessarily compatible with the other uses in that zoning district. And that special permission requires public hearing at the Planning Commission level and a public hearing at the City Council level. The Planning Commission and the City Council, under state law, have certain criteria by which you are required to evaluate those special permissions or those specific use permits. Those can be incorporated into restrictions on allowing that less compatible use in that zoning district. Once that SUP has gone through the process, and if it is approved, then there is also a drilling permit if it's going to be oil and gas drilling that someone is doing under that SUP. So they would have to obtain a drilling permit as well, which typically tracks right along with the SUP. Instead of having the two separate processes, it also is Planning Commission and City Council approval.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, Paula.
No? Yes.
So this is a public hearing, and so I'll open the public hearing and ask if there is anyone here this evening that would like to speak in favor of this text amendment. Okay, seeing none, is there anyone here this evening that would like to speak in opposition of this text amendment? Okay, we'll close the public hearing and ask for staff's recommendation, or alternatives, I guess.
Yes, a couple of alternatives. You can accept staff's findings that were reiterated to you, and they're also in your report. Recommend that the City Council approve the proposed text amendment, or accept the findings and recommend that the council approve the text amendment with any changes that the Planning Commission has identified. Be happy to answer any other questions if any pop up at any time.
I'll make a motion to accept findings and recommend that City Council approve the proposed text amendments as presented.
I'll second that.
Been a motion and a second to, so let's vote on that. And that passes with 3 votes yes and 1 vote no. Next item on the agenda, approval of the meeting summary for discussion and possible action. Item A, approval of the regular meeting summary for November 18th, 2014. Wow, that seems a while back.
Make a motion to approve.
Second?
There's been a motion and a second on that. Let's please vote. And those minutes are approved with 4 votes yes. Next item on the agenda, item 4, miscellaneous items from staff for discussion and possible action. Next Planning Commission meeting is January 20th, 2015. Any questions or comments from planning commissioners? If not, Chair would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Okay, there's been a motion and a second on the adjournment. Please vote. And we are adjourned.